Hello everyone, welcome to the latest episode of our Let's Talk About It podcast. My name is Luke, I'm your host, as most of you already know. Tonight I'm with my co-host Anita and our dear guest Mark. Welcome, it's nice to have you here.
It's a pleasure to be here, thank you very much.
Alrighty, well it's your first time, right?
Yeah, that's right, it's my first time.
Well, there's a first time for everything.
The first of many podcasts that will happen.
Yes, first of many more to come. So how are you? How's your day?
Well, it's been going great so far, and it's really nice to actually end a day like this with the colleagues I admire and I like to be with. So I hope it's going to be very nice for all of us. Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, we are going to talk about your approach to teaching, your experience with students. How do you do your thing with them? So I've prepared a couple of true or false statements. And you've got those little rackets, whatnot. So let's see, the first one would be, since you're specialized in elementary school, let's see, so elementary school students learn about topics that can be applied in everyday life.
Definitely true.
True. Yeah.
The curriculum is such that it actually allows students to basically connect their knowledge and their experiences with everyday life and everything that surrounds them, basically, through all of the subjects like social studies, science, of course math and language arts, which are the most important in a way, especially for younger students.
Definitely. The second one would be approach to learning is same for every student.
I would say that's false as well.
All right, please elaborate. That's right. Well, let's discuss this one.
Well, I sometimes I treat them as grown-ups, or I try to be them in a childish way to express myself and do the activities. So they're all individuals, they're all different persons, and they all require different kind of attention, especially when we look at the culture they're coming from, the environment, the countries. Oh, yeah. We all take into account all of that, and so try to adjust our approach and try to show them respect and also create an environment that will react the same. Yeah.
Amazing.
Kudos to you, yeah, that's great. I got one more. As a tutor, yourself, it is only important to have knowledge and teach without using other resources, like strictly sticking to what's there on the platform.
Well, of course, yeah.
False?
Yeah, that's right.
All right, well, it's not always false.
We have to expose them to as many resources as possible because they are living in a modern world. They have access to the internet. Well, that's how they attend their classes as well. So, but also we have the responsibility to teach them how to use it, and because sometimes they can be sort of victims of some kind of trap or online scam or even explicit content, which I think kids should not be allowed to watch. So it's always advised that they have someone who is adult to be with them while they're using this kind of tool.
And this is something that we always, look, yourself when you're speaking with parents, and especially for Mark, you've probably seen that in your, when meeting a new student, it's not just the student, it's the student and the parent or something like that, because we do highly recommend that we have someone there in the beginning just until they get used to it, until they get used to us as well, and that whole environment. So it's not scary, it's not, sus to them or anything like that, but, that they can as well feel that their child is safe with us and in our classrooms, of course.
That's right.
Everything's moving online, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Jobs, even medicine somehow is moving online. Why not schooling, right? So
just not Google doctor.
It is the future.
It is. And students at that age, being tech savvy to a certain degree, will only be a benefit in future days, later days for them, right?
Yeah, they always surprise me with what they know and how they manage. So I learn something from them every day. Well, not every day, but very close to that. Yeah.
It happens, of course. Now I've got a couple of questions here, nothing too strict. We'll just try to follow the path here. So what might be interesting to our audience is what does the start of schooling looks like for our youngest students? So when they start?
Well, usually the regular, we introduce to each other, and also the consultant is mostly present. And then I try to actually, I have to speak for myself. I always try to engage them right away, try to make them feel comfortable, try to make them express themselves right away so they can, be more convenient, feel more convenient and pleasant in the class. So we always try to engage them right away. I assess their English knowledge. I assess, what kind of personality they have. Through some short questions about their family, about their,
hobbies, pets, friends,
date of birth, pets, and everything that might be to interest of them. And I always ask them, what do they like to do in their leisure time, which is, I think, very, very important. Because not only that they have to learn something in school, but they also have to pursue that, let's say, the goal to develop themselves as unique individuals in character. So, try to not impose, but activate them and doing something very, very creative.
Yeah. I think it's important that, as teachers, you ask that, like, what they like to do, because I guess it's human nature. We all like to talk about ourselves to some degree, not all the time, but like a young student will feel like more kind of relaxed when they know that, not that they're the center of attention necessarily, but they're talking about something that they're not forced to like study or
familiar
like
ground.
Exactly,
they like to be
exactly.
And a common ground, make them feel like they're part of the class. It cannot happen without them.
Exactly.
So
that's right. And I can now use the word impose. So we're not trying to impose
of course not.
Something strictly like subjects and grades and put a pressure on them. They need to know that they're going to have a great experience learning with us and going through the activities. Yeah.
Well, that sounds great. But now I'll stay on the topic. I've got like a sub questions for this one. So now you explained what the start looks like, right? But we do two kinds of classes, and I believe you do both of them, individual and group classes.
Yeah, that's right.
What's the difference? I mean, a lot of differences, obviously.
Individual classes they're more beneficial because you can devote your time to one student, and it's only centered around them, on their subject. You can do many different activities with them. When you have a group class, you're a bit limited, so to speak. So basically, when we do a group class, no matter, I always try to sort of like engage all of the students into the activities that we do.
I'm sorry to interrupt. How big are the groups in those grades?
Well, it depends. Depends on the day. Depends on the time zone. So mostly you have 5 to 15 students. That can happen. Yeah, that can happen. Actually, sometimes I even had more. But that's something that is not very easily manageable. But you can do that. Definitely, they like to be challenged. So if you can find an activity that's going to challenge them, make them think, make them maybe compete a little bit, they're going to be present.
Healthy competition,
exactly.
of course.
That's right.
It's a healthy thing.
Do you find that, if you have a student that you have an individual class and that same student joins a group class, do you see a difference like in the individual class and in the group class?
Well, actually, I have one student, but I do not see a lot of difference. And because, depending on the personality, they're going to act similarly, but depending on their surrounding, on their classmates, they might react a little bit different. They might withdraw a little bit, or depending on their personality, if they're energetic, they are going to
dominate.
Try to dominate. But we try to prevent both scenarios to make them all in a way equal.
Most of your students that you're having individual classes with are probably joining those group classes. And it's been happening for quite some time now. What is the relationship like between the students in group class?
Well, it depends from group to group. They all come from different, cultures and from different ethnicities. So basically, at some groups, I receive requests for them to stay after class and they hang out and talk about different topics or play games even if they want to.
That's really popular with especially like the younger students as well.
Yeah, Roblox is something that's very popular.
Roblox, Minecraft, who knows?
That definitely that is the case. But I have a couple of groups where students don't want to stay after class. Now, I don't know the reason. I try to encourage them because it's very important to socialize. A lot of them are, all around the world, and since it's a specific situation, I don't think they have a lot of opportunities to socialize outside of the classes, although I encourage that as well. So I think that's very important for them, but they sometimes do not react and they just want to go on doing their own things after the class, or maybe they have another class and they don't want to.
That's the case. Usually that's the case.
After school activities or something like that.
We'll get to it.
Yeah,
Mark has an ace up in his sleeve.
We definitely want them to actually hang out and befriend each other. We had actually some cases where they even went to meet each other, have sleepovers even, and that was a beautiful thing to see.
Yeah.
Lovely, at least to say. So, what would be your approach, or generally speaking, your opinion on how a tutor should how can a tutor actually motivate a student not only to learn but to do the homework, to explore the world around them in some like semi-academic way, maybe?
Well,
certainly at that age, that's a challenge for you as well.
Well,
right?
basically, because they're at a younger age, the materials that we provide are interactive. So not only when they're on the platform, but the activities that we give them to do, it allows them to express themselves creatively, to build something, to explore, go out into nature, and do some kind of research. So we provide that, and we also encourage them to do it. Of course, as a part of curriculum, they have to,
exactly.
Even if
that was
they're
my next question.
if they're reluctant. Somehow we try to bring them close to nature, as well as the community they live in, and even to somehow try to make them engaged in everyday activities, see how the public venues look like, or the history of their town, what they actually can learn from the adults and the authorities there.
It's really interesting, and I think it's really important that you kind of not push for it, but encourage that they are not just sitting behind a computer screen and like typing away or clicking away or something like that. And a lot of our subjects, like the sciences and all that, they require like certain experiments and all of that gets them involved, like with their parents or their older siblings, to get out and do something like physically with their hands and stuff. So really, I think really important for like cognitive function as well. Not just like, social, like for them to socialize and, get out of the room. But it's really good, and all of our teachers, I guess, they really try and not impose, encourage this. That's the word of the day, impose. Encourage this, just so that they do kind of break out of that little, shell, that they're not, shy or anything like that.
That's true, definitely, because they also need to develop their motor skills as they grow up. So any kind of physical activity that is included in the curriculum or
Is it? We have those, like physical education, if I'm not mistaken.
That's right.
And I believe they've got some exercises to do to write down their timings.
Basketball,
football, and all of that.
Yeah, definitely. Some of even the electives actually provide them with knowledge they need for the activities, and also give them tasks to perform some kind of physical activity.
Like what?
Well, sometimes it can be push-ups, pull-ups, playing basketball, playing football. I don't know.
It's like a theoretical and practical, like.
That's right. And they actually make reports on their own and submit as homework to be assessed by the tutor and give
like
grades.
400-meter run and
They
everything.
do. I think they did something similar to a speed test.
Wow.
Yeah, so I remember this one student, and he actually had to record himself, which was really sweet. So in the backyard, he had like, point A, point B, and he had to like do like a speed test or something, and then the dog was running in the background. But it's really sweet, like that, and I really love when I see that they get involved and, they take it seriously, because a lot of people think, in online school, like, they'll just click away and that's it. But it's not, it's really important. And I keep saying this, we do encourage as much as we can for them to socialize, to get out, to do things physically as well, obviously, like with, in a safe manner.
That's right, because we want to make everybody see that we are a real school.
Exactly.
Not just a computer screen.
Yeah, exactly. We're not Roblox. You're not Roblox, Mark.
Yeah, that's
exactly. Now we were talking about students are great when they are cooperative, supportive, willing to work. What happens in the other scenario? I mean, how would you handle a situation when a child, a student actually, is not in the mood or refusing or being unable to follow the lesson, and you run a class, the time is clicking, what happens? I believe it rarely happens in your classes, group and individual, but if you can remember a case.
Well, basically, it depends, and depends on many circumstances, especially family. In most cases, 90% is actually family, caused by family relationships or inner relationships. So some of them, basically they're all good kids. I never had any kind of problems with any of the students. But sometimes they even show some sort of not compassion, but when you connect with the student, and you win them, they start to trust you. They want to confide in you. And sometimes, I even had some requests. They want to stay after class to talk about some problems they have. But most of the time, it's a personal problem. Most of the time, it's not something that is related to their family members. Although there are cases, so sometimes we cannot dig that deep and see what the true cause of the problem is, because it definitely gets much more complicated to actually assess something like that. But let's say if the child is not
being cooperative in
class, that's right. It's not willing to cooperate.
Off day or something like that.
I try to relax them, to talk about something they feel like talking about that moment, and try to lead them slowly to the program and the curriculum or the lesson unit that we need to do. And even if they still don't show willingness to work, then I try to give them examples and try to make some sort of like experiential learning, so they would be more relaxed, more willing to communicate. So I don't force them, because everybody has a bad day. So I try not to force them, because I think the psychology needs, actually the mental health of the child is the most important thing.
It is, the mental state as well they're in currently. Sometimes maybe it can happen, like they're playing video games, every one of them probably. They lost 3 games in a row, joined the class, and they're not in the mood, right?
That's right, it causes frustration.
Exactly, they want to go back and do their thing, so it can be quite challenging.
That's actually a good example, because I remember a few years ago, I had like a language speaking class, and one of the students, he just vanished. And his sister was in the class, and I said, "Where did he go?" "He's playing games." "Go get him, bring him back."
Boy.
So he was probably, like you said, he probably lost in a few games, and then he didn't want to come to the class, and then he thought, "Oh well, I'm going to go back and finish this game."
He wants to win.
Yeah, many of them actually imitate sounds from the games.
Really?
Yeah, Minecraft cute. Especially. I know one, but I'm not going to say it out loud because it sounds very silly.
There were like voice sounds or voice lines. But who am I to speak? I never played the game in my life, right?
You gotta get into Minecraft, and what's the other one?
Age of Empires.
Just Age kidding. That's a great game.
Roblox,
great game. Yeah. Roblox as well, I guess. So,
yeah, we're talking about kids.
Not my cup of tea though, but yeah, I mean, I could talk this one for hours.
That's why we have a gamers club, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so kids actually can talk about all.
Yeah, and the aspect of socialization, as you said, in individual classes where most of the focus, if not the whole focus, is on one child, one student, and making progress on the platform, learning new things, while in group classes, in my opinion, maybe the main aspect of group class is socialization compared to purely making progress on a learning material, right?
That's right.
When we're at learning material, the learning model that we use, spiral upward model, can you tell us more about that?
Spiral upward module actually refers to expanding your knowledge with each grade, so to speak. I'm going to try to explain it simply.
Take your time, yeah.
Please, for people like me that I'm kidding.
Actually, it's sort of like revisiting old topics, but expanding them, making them more complex as you actually move from grade to grade, and building on that. So that is the basis of the curriculum that actually involves the spiral upward model.
Just for the sake of the example, one year we are learning about European countries. The next year we are going to learn about capitals of those European countries. The third year we are going to learn about population, culture, and everything in those capitals of those European countries. It builds up, but always goes back, right?
That's right, because it's very, very,
just making sure I understand.
Yeah, reinforcing knowledge is very, very important in this case. So the program and curriculum is focused on that. So I think it's very, very valuable, which also means that students don't have to start from grade 1, but later
that's what I want to say.
They can enroll later and also pick up on the topic and also learn what other students
are. So how hard would it be for someone coming from another school, another educational institution to our school and getting adapted to that kind of learning module?
Well, actually, I think it's pretty easy to definitely enroll and include themselves in program. But it all actually depends on their language
proficiency.
Knowledge. Yeah. So that needs to also be assessed before they can enroll. Or if they show a problem or have a language barrier, we offer programs that are going to help them overcome that obstacle and then start doing regular classes. So all options are covered.
With that being said, I know that you're using total physical response, right?
Yeah, TPR.
As a method, yeah. So what is it? How does it work? How does it affect the memory of
children?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, actually, it depends on the circumstances, on the class, and what we are teaching. So you know that kids mostly know a lot of commands before they even start talking from their parents. So basically what we try to do is connect the action with the language. So if everything is actually presented, let's say you say to students stand up, and then you stand up. So you give them an example. You tell them like raise a hand, and then you raise a hand, and you can play a game like stand ups, and they stand up. You say sit down, they sit down. Yeah. So you can stand up, and they're sitting down. So they
day night.
Yeah, that's right. That's something like that. So in that sense, it's more natural to learn. So I'm always for the natural learning of language and understanding it, not translating. So that is, in my case, I think should be avoided. So in that sense, we try to learn, especially younger students, how to react not to the command, but to the stimulation that we give them with words. Giving examples. So sometimes
please, I wanted to ask for an example.
So let's say,
like, how do you do that?
If say my name, you can say it like this, is Mark, and then you show it to yourself. So let's say if you wanted them to repeat something, you say, please repeat. repeat.
Yeah, so it's these actions that they, like you said.
Yeah, you create analogies so they can actually.
Psychological strategies here.
That's right. That's
what
right.
I
So
see.
they would identify that signal and connect it to the word and already start to understand the language. This is that is the key to the TPR.
Wow. All right.
So do we have more questions or?
Yes, we've got a couple of more.
Always has questions.
How do you feel? How's everything?
Well,
you don't seem nervous to me.
Well, I'm usually not. I'm in front of the camera every day, so, you know.
I know.
Yeah, as all of us. So I think that education worldwide is beneficial for both tutors and students, and I think we're sort of creating a community, especially with the activities outside of school, and even encourage students to meet, have road trips and similar. So
more and more.
More and more
news will
opportunities,
come, right?
Yep.
So how long now you have been with Education Worldwide?
3 years now.
3 years.
3 years. Yeah.
Now these questions are off the topic. I'm not even looking here.
All right.
This
First
is,
of all,
In your
this
opinion,
is improv.
yes,
Improv.
I'm trying to improvise here. From your perspective, from your point of view, how was it 3 years ago and how is it now? Where we improved, where we've made mistakes, did we learn from mistakes?
Well,
what's different?
Well, I think we didn't make any mistakes since the beginning, but I
neither.
think
Just-
the main thing is that we as a school have grown a lot, and we are in need of more and more tutors and teachers, and that is actually just the proof that we're doing a good thing.
Yeah.
When I compare it to the public schools, we offer much more flexibility.
In which ways?
In the ways that we have Prime program, where kids can attend classes in school like they do in a regular school. And beside that, we also have a different regular program where students can enroll at any time of the year, and still manage to follow the curriculum and the program.
Yes.
And
And not feel like, if they're starting in, January or March, where other students have started in September, say for example, they don't feel like they are, behind or anything because they start literally.
That's right.
like when
And they have
they're
support
enrolled.
with their peers in the
Yeah.
class, which are in the same situation, and they all can share and talk about it, even
Yeah.
exchange opinions,
Yeah.
which I think is a really, really good thing.
Now I cannot recall when you started. Did you start initially with elementary school, or?
Yeah, that's right. I'm a classroom teacher, so basically I started with kindergartens to 4th grade, and I've been doing a lot of classes with them in the last 2.5 years.
A lot of classes. I like
Everybody knows
that.
Yeah, everybody.
All the classes.
Yeah, well,
Actually-
I'm a classroom teacher by profession, so I guess that's pretty convenient in a way. But it requires a lot of energy because they're the one that need a lot of energy, a lot of attention,
Attention.
and they also need to feel important. They
and
need
stay
to.
focused.
That's right, but they need to also understand that their opinion is very important to
Yeah.
everybody around them.
It is.
And
They must feel included, important, and feel like they're part
Yeah.
of a school. I mean, we are here for them, they're there for us, right? So.
Yeah.
that's right, because that's very important for them when they grow up to be strong individuals with great character.
And with tutors like you, there's no doubt they'll be one day.
Thank you.
I mean, no, honestly,
I cannot-
honestly.
It's flattering.
Probably the best in business, and I'm so flattered to have you here tonight.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you for coming again. It's a real pleasure having you here. So back to my prepared questions, let's improvise ones. Elementary school, the age of those students varies probably from 6 to 10, let's say.
Yes, that's right.
They kind of have a limited vocabulary. And even some of them, their first language, native language, is not English. How do you overcome that in classes, especially with students at that age?
Well, trying to adapt to them. Our program is made in such a way that they can already have materials they can access through the platform, which is going to teach them phonics, which is going to teach them basic reading and everything. But if they still feel the need or don't understand, of course, I always I always say that we have sort of a program where they can overcome the barriers of
course.
Yeah, of the language, and of course using TPR, drawing out the meaning out of context. So not just thinking about the words they're reading, but they read the whole paragraph, and through that context, they're going to find some words that they already know and understand and recognize, and then they're going to have the idea of what is written. Because the most important thing, of course, there are many important things, but one of them is they need to understand what they're doing and what they're reading, the information that is given to them. Yeah. Because if they do not, they're going to get frustrated and they're not going to be willing to learn and
of course not.
Devote their time. Yeah.
I like the part when you said previously, you're not trying to teach them to translate phrases, words, sentences, paragraphs, but understand it in English. And if you succeed as you're doing that, that's the whole new world.
Yeah. That's right, and I want to see them, loving the classes. I want to see them, having the will to come, and that's why, sometimes I have 15 students. But
well, that's why I think everyone loves your classes.
Yeah, well, maybe I'm, just relaxed like now.
And that's what they like. You know what? It's really important as well. I mean, like all of our teachers are relaxed, but when someone is just easygoing and likes to incorporate games and have fun with them, it puts them at ease as well. So it kind of helps them understand the lesson, not just like, okay, I gotta regurgitate what I've just heard and.
Yeah, that's right. And sometimes if I see that 5 of them want to say something, I give attention to all, because that's in my opinion more important at some point than just strictly following the program and shutting them out. I want to give all kids a chance to express themselves and feel as members of the class and the school.
All right, thank you. This was a good one. How much, if at all, is there a need for parents to be involved in their children's education, and how can they help? How can they participate? What's their responsibility there, if any, or everything's their responsibility?
Well, as parents, they have the most important role in their kids' lives. So I definitely encourage them, if they want to, they can be observers. Most of the time they're,
What do you mean like observers?
Well, they're sitting in the background and seeing
doing the classes.
Yeah, that's right. Sometimes, I think 30% of the students have their parents accompany them
not technically in the class, but
not in the class,
around,
but
there,
like ghosts.
Yeah.
And
shadows.
That's right. And help them if they see that there is some kind of problem. Sometimes they translate it for them if they see that they can't follow as the other students. And sometimes, of course, they want to say hi, and we are friends there. And sometimes you even have chat with parents. We're doing some individual classes or stuff like that, and we need to catch up on some things, because I tend to be very open and personal with my my students and their families. So it's a small world. And
how frequent you speak or have conversations with parents?
Well, most of the time it's individual classes. In group classes you're not going to see that, because they're all aware there are other kids there and they don't want to interrupt anything.
Of course not, yeah.
But individual classes, I don't know, every 3rd, 4th class, and if the parents really like me, they actually come every class and say hello before we start, and they update me on something that is important to the student.
Absolutely.
So, and of course I always have platform here to see the progress of the students that I'm working with, and to actually let them know, give them a feedback of what needs to be improved, or had to pick up the pace on some subjects. So it's all very nicely and neatly, organized.
So, packed up together real good. I'd like to take this opportunity to invite our dear audience to ask any questions if they've got any, and we'll try to answer, myself, Anita, and Mark. Thank you. Now, to go back to the start with the questions, starting of school year in a brick and mortar traditional schools, parents have to buy tons of stuff, right? Starting with backpacks, new school clothes,
pencil
books,
cases,
and
coloring.
everything else. what is required for students in our school? I mean, what would be your suggestion, your shot at it?
Well, the first thing they need to do is go through the resources. And that's...
What do you mean, resources?
Resources in the platform. That's sort of like a special module for the students and the parents that are joining the school. And there they have instructional videos where everything is going to be explained to them. But they will not need many resources. And every unit is going to inform them of what resources they need to perform an activity. So it's not something they need to stack up for the whole year, but just as they follow the program along, they actually just
it usually maybe
smaller changes.
Depends on the elective subjects, right? If you take, as we said,
Arts and
physical
crafts or
education,
something, yeah.
right, and you want to record yourself doing a 400-meter sprint, then you're probably going to need running shoes, right?
That's right.
If you took arts and crafts, you're going to need paint or modules or whatnot.
Yeah, that's right. That's
Depends
right.
on that one as well, yeah. All right, and let's see. Yeah, extracurricular activities, Anita, we are pulling that ace from your sleeve, Mark. I've heard there are rumors in the school that you are the founder of one of our, let's call it clubs, as a part of extracurricular activities. Which one? Tell us all about it, how it started. Is it only students' hobby? Is it your hobby?
Well, it's my passion and hobby. It's photography, and
I thought teaching was your passion and hobby.
Gotcha here, Mark.
well, I can have more than one, so I think it's okay.
Big
I'm
heart.
only kidding.
I know. Well, basically, it started as other clubs as an initiative to, involve our students in more activities than just following the program. And it started 2 years ago, in my case, and. We have two groups. One is from 3rd to 7th grade. We try not to include younger students because they might have problems adjusting and taking it seriously. And we also have a group from 8th to 12th grade. What we basically do, we have meetings once a week, and I try to teach them about terminology, about anything they want to know about photography, like theory, the exposure triangle, and all the basic stuffs that someone should know before they start doing photography by themselves. So other than that, we also have activities. At the end of each meeting, I give them a task they need to perform. Depending on the topic, sometimes it's free topics, sometimes street photography, architecture. They have a chance to shoot photos until the next meeting and pick their best 3 photos, most of the time that is, and then showcase and present. And then we talk about the composition, the colors, and all those technical things in photography, which makes it more interesting, and just to try to explain why the photo looks beautiful or it could be beautiful, more beautiful. And that is the whole point, because I really want them to learn, but I also want them to have fun, so they would start loving photography. So that is basically what we do. Sometimes we watch instructional videos, sometimes we watch educational videos about photography, about some very famous photographers and their works of art, and it's really something that is it's inspiring.
I feel like it's a very popular club as well. We have quite a few students.
Well, yes, it is. I always like more. I don't mind working in smaller groups because it's easier to devote your time to everybody and for everybody to show, because sometimes the longest meetings were lasting like hour and 40 minutes.
Wow.
Oh my.
Yeah, because we got carried away and we talk
passion.
about many things, especially the students that were hooked on photography, so we all enjoy ourselves. But I don't know, it just needs to be fun for them.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No, thank you for being here. We've got no questions here from the viewers. I think that we pretty much covered everything. Thank you, Mark, for being here. Anita, thank you for always being here.
Likewise, thank you for
the audience. Oh my God.
hosting.
Yeah. Thanks to our dear audience for following and watching us. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and see you in the next episode. Bye.